We're talking about Revit management training, of course. This is for all of us Reviteers who are becoming CAD managers, becoming BIM managers, becoming people with a little less hair than we had last week because there's more information that we don't know, that we need to know. Our bosses are getting mad at us because, well, unless you are your own boss. So, of course, today's webinar is on title blocks, session 5, as I've said already. And essentially, we know you have them for CAD. Well, how do you get them into Revit? And what is the best practices on that? How does that all work? That's what we're going to be talking about. And I'd just like to see a show of hands. How many people have actually done their done a title block, attempted title block?
And how is that? Sound better? Yeah. Anybody attempted a title block? Wow. We have a few hands up. Never attempted a title block. Let's do that one. Oh, great. Wait, why did you raise your hand twice? You either did or you didn't. Maybe you did and you failed so bad that you're saying you didn't. So that would be the fun. Okay, so enough of the laughs. Here are our topics. Labels, text, lines. Why are these all put together? Because they're all system families that you need to deal with. Parameters. Do you know what parameters are or not? If you don't know what parameters are yet, I would take that sheet of paper that I know you have sitting next to you because you're a wonderful note taker and write down parameters with a big question mark over it because this is the most important thing you need to know about Revit. Really, very important. I'm going to give you some best practices, talk about how AutoCAD and your AutoCAD to Revit drawing problems. You're going to have some things if you take your AutoCAD title block, flip it into Revit, you're going to have some problems. Talk about scale, line type, lots and lots and lots and lots. Okay, labels and text and lines. These are all essentially the same thing, but they're not. These are all system families. Let me go ahead and show my screen, sorry. These are all system families that when you are in a title block, you need to make multiple types. And as soon as Revit 2010 opens up, for some reason, I had the same problem on Tuesday. But hopefully it'll pop up pretty soon. Okay. They're all the same. Let me show you this in 2009, what I am talking about, while I wait for 2010 to open up. Okay. So, in 2009, this is what it looks like. You're going to choose a title block size. You choose the size. And we're talking about label and text, all of it. From the lines, the text, or the label, they're all, you need to think they're essentially the same. What do you mean by that? They are all system families that you're seeing now, the pull down for type information, that you're going to have to modify or not. For the lines, yes. For the text, because nobody uses text note, you actually use something called, let's go ahead and say Arial 1/8 inch. Right? So I gave it a name, Arial 1/8 inch, but I haven't actually fixed it. 1/8 inch. Okay. So you're going to have a couple of different title block information. Text information. Some of it is 1/8 inch. You know, some of it is 1/4 inch, right? Because you've got maybe the sheet title. TLE. Tittle? And that size needs to be changed as well. So this is what I mean by they are all essentially the same, and I will show you back in a moment in the PowerPoint slide what I'm saying again. So you have the labels, only one label made. The text, I can choose between my quarter-inch sheet title or my aerial 1/8 inch. So you're going to have to make these choices. These things are going to come into play, and that is what I mean by labels and text and lines. Let me explain on it. What did you see me do in just a moment ago? You saw me create 2 new text types. What did I do wrong within that? I didn't actually adhere to a naming convention. I took no ownership over what I was doing. And since I took no ownership over what I was doing, I don't know if I made that, you made that, or whatever. So let me go back in here and say naming convention for everything. And this is what I mean. From the text pull down, I've got my sheet title, I've got my aerial 1/8 inch. Well, that right there is 2 different naming conventions, right? One, I'm saying, here's the font, and then the font size. Here is a naming convention that says, here is the size of text, or at least I hope it is. Maybe it's a quarter-inch sheet. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm assuming it's a quarter-inch text, and I'm using it for the sheet title. So this is where naming conventions are beginning to really come into play. Let's talk about labels and that same exact idea, where you're going to duplicate element properties, edit new, duplicate, aerial 1/8 inch. So that would mean to me that that's aerial and then 1/8 inch. Well, what about this? What if my title block, I may have a label that is the project name. There's that other way of taking ownership here. Project name. Now, what does this say to you? It tells me that whenever I pull down, I'd see tag 1, aerial 1/8 inch, or I'd see W2P underscore project name. Hey, I think that's the title, but that's the label, font, height, width, all of the things that I would use for the project name in my title block. So maybe this is, well, title block, let's go 30 seconds. Let's give it a width factor of 1.2. Let's make it bold and underlined. You see my point? And that's the way our project name is displayed. And I'll show you that first piece there, project name. Okay. You notice that as I zoom in, this project name, if I change it from one to another, makes a little difference, right? That's what I mean by type information. That's what I mean by naming convention. These are the things that you have to make a decision on. And unless you're not the decision maker, at which point, why are you here? Okay. You're going to need a naming convention. It's going to apply to line types, text, labels. The type information for your title block, is this an E-size, D-size, E-size sheet, and the family name. Is this my presentation title block family? Is this my construction documentation title block families? Because I know a lot of people have different title blocks between schematic design and sometimes design development. They tie that into the same title block, but it all says not for construction in the middle of it. Maybe it looks a little different than your final construction documentation. Everybody following along with me here? Any thoughts, questions, or, yeah, I got this. I got this little piece that you're talking about, Will. That's the question. Raise your hand. Got it? Good. Moving on. Okay. So, now, aside from the naming convention, I'm going to basically explain how you're going to cover these pieces of the title block, your text, your lines, all of that. And I'm going to explain some of the naming conventions yet again, why you should do one or the other. And then here is a good example for you. And does that example make sense? So that is what I'm saying. Do you get these 3 slides? Let me go back up. Okay. You understand all those words, labels, text, and line.